Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda. I would do my normal intro of I obviously love to read, but you can't tell from my background. So if you're new here, this is my brand new apartment that we just moved into a few weeks ago. I just posted a moving vlog just a couple of days ago, so I will link it up here. If you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. I have one of my most favorite videos to film and also seemingly one of your favorite videos to watch, which is a book haul. So my last book haul was back in March, I believe. I had gotten back from staying with my parents for a couple of months and obtained a lot of books while I was there. And then I immediately put myself on a book buying ban. And that lasted almost 2 months. And then I bought a couple of books. I got a couple of pre-orders. I bought a couple more books. And then what happened was the same thing as last year. My parents came down here for vacation a couple of weeks ago, and something that my wonderful, loving, amazing mother does every single time they go on vacation is she basically hands me a wad of cash. And y'all know what happens to my spending money when I have it. It gets spent on books because your girl loves to read, and separately, your girl loves to collect books. So I have another unhinged book haul for you guys. I counted right before I started filming and it's 62 books. Yeah. All I can say is thank goodness I'm getting new bookshelves soon because I don't have literally anywhere to put these books. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I do have kind of a wide, not a very wide range of books. You guys know my book taste if you've watched me before. If you've not watched me before, my book taste is basically romance and fantasy. So that's pretty much what we have here today. So I am just going to start with the first book in my pile, which is Be Mine Forever by Kennedy Ryan. So as you can see, this is a bargain book from Books A Million. So while my mom was here, one of the places we obviously went was Books A Million. I was very excited to find this Books A Million because I didn't even know it existed. I thought the only semi-normal bookstore we had near us was Barnes, and I hate Barnes & Noble. I mean, I don't hate Barnes & Noble, that's a strong word. I just enjoy Books A Million a lot more because they have a bargain section and your girl loves to get books cheaper than they should be. Anyway, that was the first book. I've grabbed the other books that I also got that day at Books A Million in the bargain section, and the next one is Into the Woods by Jenny Holiday. I have wanted to pick this up for a very long time because the couple on the front looks exactly like me and my partner. I know I don't have this color hair anymore, but my hair literally used to be this color. And yes, this man is not brown, but he has a man bun, so yeah, that's me and my partner. The next one I got is Until Next Summer by Allie Brady. Earlier this year, I read Battle of the Bookstores by Allie Brady, and it literally became my new favorite rom-com. So when I saw that she had published another book before that, yeah, I needed to get it immediately. And the last one that I got in the bargain section that day is Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown. This is just one that I have seen around the book space. Yeah, that's literally my only excuse for buying it. If you guys have seen my book hauls before, you'll know that I know next to nothing about the books that I buy. I really prefer to buy books based off of vibes, and I like to read books based off of vibes. So literally you only live once, that's the excuse that I have. Next in my pile is an interesting one, and this is one that I can't tell if I'm going to regret the purchase or not. And that's because this book, the one that I have in my possession at the moment, is independently published. Earlier this year, I learned the hard way reading Kissed by the Gods by Katie Rogan, which was independently published at the time and has since been picked up for traditional publishing, and everyone is raving about it. Obviously, the independent version and the trad published version, they end up being different versions. Obviously, due to editing and things like that, the trad published version typically, not always, but typically ends up being better, at least better structured, again, better editing wise, so on and so forth, than the independently published version. So this one I really just gave into the FOMO, which honestly was kind of stupid because the trad published version comes out literally next month, I think, maybe the month after that. In any case, I gave into the hype and finally bought Daggermouth. Next in my pile is something I'm very excited to read, and that is Heaven's Official Blessing, but this is the comic version. So if you don't know what this is a danmei, which is the Chinese version of boy love, which means the two characters are both boys and they have a romance. But this was originally what they call a light novel, which is kind of like the manga version of a novel. It's literally just words, no pictures. But they turned this one into a graphic novel. And I'm so excited because the art in this book is gorgeous. So yes, cannot wait to read that. This is the first one. I don't know what I'm getting myself into collecting wise, but problem for future, Amanda. Next here in my pile is H.G. Carlton's newest release, which is My Dreadful Darling. I cannot wait to read this. However, it is a duology just like Haunting Adeline, and the next book comes out, I believe, in November. So your girl's gonna be waiting until November because I just know the cliffhanger in this is gonna be diabolical. The next two books I have here are an interesting pick for me. I, again, was purely going based off of like cover and vibes. I happened to see this book in Books A Million that day and didn't want to pay the Books A Million price. So I bought this online. This is Thrown in the Dark by A.K. Caggiano. And then I also bought the second book because why not? We're manifesting loving it, okay? Next thing I have here, I'm very excited about because I, for whatever reason, slept on buying the hardback when this first came out, and then I saw it in paperback and was like, why not? And that is Silver Cloak by L.K. Stevens. I have seen, obviously when this book first came out, there were a lot of booktube creators talking about this, but it's kind of since died down, but I did see one of my favorite book creators read this recently, and they were obsessed, and I simply added to cart. Doesn't take much for me to add a book to cart. Next thing I have on my pile is Weaving Shaw by Hiba Al-Wasiti. I really am probably butchering this name. I'm so sorry. But this is, I believe, a new, what did they call that? Dark academia fantasy. So very in the mood for this. Maybe not now, maybe once it's like fall time, but literally can't wait to read this. Totally switching gears here. The reason Mom and I originally went out to Books A Million the day that we did was to find Catherine Center's new release, which is called The Shippers. And when we got to Books A Million, I did in fact find the book. However, it was like $32. Like it was supposed to be on sale that day with my Books A Million membership, and it was only online. The girl would not give me the sale price in the store. So I was like, cool, buying it somewhere else. So I did in fact buy The Shippers by Catherine Center somewhere else. And I absolutely cannot wait to read this. Catherine Center has become one of my favorite romance authors. If you've never read by her, all of her books, at least the ones I've read so far, don't have any spice. So I assume that's the kind of writer she is. And her books are literally just so wholesome and so romantic. They're just literally so good. I also picked up Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. This is her newest release in her brand new, I don't know the name of the series and the book doesn't say, but this is a brand new series for her. I assume it is also cowboy romance because that is her thing. Definitely will be reading much more Elsie Silver before I get to this one. Just wanted to have it. The next few books that I have are completing a series that I own, which is the Guild series, Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. So I do have Gold, Glow, and Goldfinch. These are such chunky books, holy shit. But I am so happy that I finally have this series completed because that means I can finally read it. It is a bad habit, trust me, I know. But something scratches my brain a certain way when I already own the entire series, and sometimes I need to do that in order to read it, so. Next I have probably one of my most anticipated releases of 2026. However, I am literally petrified to start reading it. So it's already been out for a couple of weeks, and it's just been sitting on my shelf. Yeah, anyways, I have 2 copies of Fury Bound by Sable Sorensen. You might be wondering why, Amanda, do you have 2? Well, this is the one that I pre-ordered, and it is the like traditional cover. So it's got these blue shiny things, beautiful sprayed edges. However, when I went to Target Target had a different copy. And I was like, I need that too. Because look at this. She is so pretty. So it's a slightly similar cover, but it obviously does have this blue to purple ombre situation, which I love. And that carries through on the edges. However, what literally made me buy this copy is the quote that's on the sprayed edges. It says, "You must, so you will. I must, so I will." Literally chills. When I read book 1, and that is a quote from book 1, why they put it on the sprayed edges of book 2 is beyond me. I don't know yet, but it technically is a quote from book 1. And when I read book 1, that quote settled with me so hard that I was like, I need to go get a tattoo for this. Not once in my 2 years being a reader have I read something in a book and thought I need to tattoo that on my body. I know a lot of people do, and I'm not knocking the people who get book tattoos, but it just personally hasn't happened to me yet until now. So when I saw that the quote was on these edges, I literally had to buy it. I literally had to. Moving on, the next book is The Wicked Sea by Jordan Stephanie Gray. I read Bitten earlier this year by Jordan Stephanie Gray, which is her debut. And though I wish her next release would have been the second book in that series, this is what we got instead, and that's fine. But I figured I would give her another chance. If you guys have not read Bitten and you did not watch I think it was a wrap-up video where I talked about it, there were some issues with that book, mainly being that the main characters were 17 and there were explicit spicy scenes. So I am really hoping that her and her publisher did not decide to do that again with this book. So I guess we'll see. But this book is just beautiful. Like, are you kidding me? This book is stunning. It has silver sprayed edges, but the silver edges are iridescent. Gorge. The next book I have here is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. And as you can see by my bookmark, I'm about 40-ish% through this book. However, I've been 40-ish% through it for like over a month. I did soft DNF this, not because I wasn't liking it. I was actually like really loving it. But I have just been in a horrific book slump since moving, and I am only just now getting out of it. So we will come back to this. Love it. Also, obviously, decided to buy the follow-up, which is Ruthless Vows. And then also, obviously, had to pick up Wild Reverence. If you're not familiar, these two books are a duology, and this one is it's a book set in the same world, but it kind of adds to the lore of the gods that are talked about in Divine Rivals. I have heard incredible things about this, incredible things about these, and I cannot wait to finish reading the series. Next on my pile here is Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter. I was actually kind of putting off buying this, but I did see some of my favorite creators read this recently because it is a brand new release, and they loved it. Had to buy it. The next book here isn't as anticipated as Fury Bound, but it is my next most anticipated read of the year. And that is Broken Dove by Dani Francis, which is the second book to Silver Elite. If you aren't familiar with my personal reading lore, last summer I picked up Silver Elite, and it was the very first fantasy-esque book that I've ever picked up in my entire life. And I loved it. It literally still to this day is one of my favorite books. I know the book gets a lot of flack. I will definitely be rereading it before I start Broken Dove. I've already got both of the audiobooks queued up. So as soon as I am in the mood for it, which hopefully will be soon, I will be reading this, and I will give you guys some additional thoughts on whether I think Silver Elite is as good of a book as I did a year ago before I got into fantasy. And yeah, we'll see how I feel then. Next book here is also kind of a late to the game purchase, and that is The Silversmith by L.J. Claren. So this is a fantasy book that I believe came out last year and was really taking the book world by storm. But I think my original thought process was I was going to read it on Kindle, and then I saw it at the store and just decided to buy it. There's that. Next book here is called Hide and Seek by Sheridan Ann. I have another Sheridan Ann book here as well, Pretty Monster by her. These are both stalker romances. I don't know if she is a stalker romance connoisseur, but I'm hoping she is, because I love a stalker romance, and I have read at least 2 already this year that have been absolutely atrocious. So I really, really need her to pull through and write me a good stalker romance, because that itch needs to be scratched. Next on my pile is No Place Like You by Julian Meadows. This is the second book in the series to Give Me Butterflies, something I already own. I just wanted to own the second one. Next on my pile is 2 books. I have A Pack for Winter by Eliana Lee and A Pack for Spring by Amelia Emerson. I'm proud of myself for not buying the first book because I already read it. However, you know I'm gonna have to, because at this point I have 2 out of the 4 books in the series. I only don't have the 4th one because it hasn't came out yet. So I am definitely gonna have to go back and buy the first book. This is an Omegaverse, small town, wide shoes romance series. They are interconnected but written by 2 different authors, and each one of them is for a different season. Obviously, the first one was for autumn, and that was my first Omegaverse book that I ever read. Shout out to Jessica for suggesting that book, and I fucking loved it. So I am very excited to read more from that series and from those authors. Next book I have here is Rules for the Summer by Megan Quinn. This is just her new summer release for the year. I try not to buy Megan Quinn books because they really are hit or miss. But again, we're manifesting that this is a great book. Next book here is Tourist Season by Brynn Weaver. This is her new series that came after the Ruinous Love trilogy. I've been putting off buying this because it originally came out in hardback only, which I refuse to buy hardbacks of romance. I'm making sure I don't have any here. Besides the Catherine Center book, I had to do it because it was new. But I damn near try to avoid, like the plague, buying romance, especially dark romance, in a hardcover. These are paperback books, guys. Please, for the love of God, put them in paperback. Anyways, I waited for the paperback release, and I'm glad I did because she is so cute. Can't wait to read this. I do, however, need to finish reading Ruinous Love first, because I love Butcher and Blackbird so much that I should have immediately went in and finished the other 2 books and simply got scared and decided not to. The next book I have here is My Blade, Your Back by K.M. Moranova. This is the second book to Your Knife, My Heart, I think is what the first book is called. I just needed the second one. Next is Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. If you guys are unfamiliar, first of all, this is the Callie Hart who wrote Quicksilver, but this is a re-release of one of her books that she wrote before Quicksilver. She is kind of a dark romance connoisseur author, so this is a dark mafia romance. Like, I don't need to say anything more, right? This should be amazing. The next 3 books I have are The Goal, The Mistake, and The Score by Elle Kennedy. I am sure if you've been on the internet in the last couple of weeks, you will know the internet is going crazy for Elle Kennedy's show for the Off-Campus series. I've had the first one for a really, really long time, still haven't gotten around to reading it, but I figured before they start fucking with the nice traditional covers, I would go ahead and buy them. Next book here is A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. Excited to read her. The next one, it's okay if you laugh at me, guys. It is okay if you laugh at me for this, because this is honestly embarrassing. This is embarrassing because a few months ago, I published an unhaul video. And this was one of the books that I unhauled. So you might be wondering, Amanda, why do you then have this in your hands? Okay, so here's what happened. The book that I unhauled was the indie copy of this, first of all. I mentioned in that video that it was a spicy Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I had no interest in that, as she proceeds to read ACOTAR. Anyway, still had no interest in this, but bestie Laura is obsessed with this series and quite literally won't shut the fuck up about it. So I was watching her videos the other day where she was talking about this, and it just sounded so good, and I just quite literally had to have it. So here we are. Next is The Arachnid by Ivy Ophelia. This is the second one to The Poisoner. Again, obsessed with the sprayed edges and just the general design of this book. Absolutely gorge. Next is The Monster in the Last Blood Match by K.A. Lind. I saw this in Tiffany's video recently. She picked this up because it was a book she'd never heard of. I also have never heard of this book, but after she read the synopsis, I was like, add to cart. It sounded literally so good. It is obviously a vampire book. Need I say more? Next book is probably like the shittiest hardcover I've ever seen in a new book, and that is A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. First of all, we're shiny like a library book. What is that about? Secondly, what is this about? And also, really? I really wish there were paperback copies of this book. But I've heard literally nothing but amazing things about this book, that there is really amazing disability rep in it, and I can't wait to read it. The next few books is a series. This is the This Woven Kingdom series by Tahara Mafi. This is a romantasy series that I believe has like a really, really wild slow burn in it, and I have been craving slow burn romance so much lately that I think this is really going to scratch the itch. The next two books I have are part of a series, and this is Cassandra Clare's newest series. This is not a part of her Shadowhunters world, and this is Swordcatcher and the Ragpicker King. So I've seen these a lot over the last few months, but again, they were in hardback. The rest of my Cassandra Clare books are paperback. So when I saw that these had paperbacks online, I just had to snatch them. Next book here is The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen. This is also something that's been out for quite some time because the second one just came out and the third one comes out really soon. And I've passed it by many times. Greek mythology is just not something that I'm inherently interested in. However, who did I see talk about this recently? I don't know. Anyways, one of my favorite book girlies on YouTube talked about this recently, and I again simply added to cart because it sounded so good, so had to snatch it. Along those same lines is Air of Illusion by Madeline Taylor. This one has been out for a few months, and I have wanted to pick it up every single time I've seen it, and for some reason I didn't. Oh right, because I was on a book buying ban. So now I have it and can't wait to read it. Okay guys, only one more pile and then we'll be done with this book haul. The next book here is A Queen This Fierce and Deadly by Stasia Stark. I own the first 3 books in this series, and it's just been really bothering me that I didn't have book 4. So here we are. The next few books that I have is a completed trilogy, and that is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This, if you did not know, is probably one of the most popular YA-ish fantasy trilogies ever. Very similar to like Hunger Games level of popularity. This is such an interesting story that I literally could not buy it. If you guys don't know what the series is about, it is about 2 young kids who live in a dystopian world where humans have perfected everything, including death, to the point where death is no longer a thing. However, there are essentially assassins in this world called scythes, and they're the only people who are allowed to kill other people. Well, these 2 kids essentially get drafted for some reason into becoming assassin scythes, and they obviously don't want anything to do with it, but we'll have to see where the story goes. But it just sounded so interesting that I could not pass it up. Totally switching gears here. The next book I have is The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. I also have book 2 coming here tomorrow. After complaining on Fable about my most recent stalker romance disappointment, one of my besties on Fable recommended the series, so here we are. Next book is How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. I am so excited that Catherine Walsh got so popular that her books are, first of all, traditionally published, but secondly, just available inside Target. That's amazing. If you did not know, I first started reading Catherine Walsh last December and read 2 or 3 of her holiday romance books, and so this is the first like just regular contemporary that I'm going to read by her, but I was so excited that she was at Target and I could not say no. Next book is another one that I've kind of put off for some time for some reason, and that is King of Ravens by Claire Sager. I haven't decided if I want to read her series or multiple series, whichever comes before this, because I have heard that this is not like in the majority of people who've read all of Claire Sager's books, this is not their favorite. So I'm like, should I start here and then go back and read? I don't know, but in any case, we have Claire Sager's new book. The next two books I have here are Losers Part 1 and Part 2 by Harley LaRue. I am so excited to have these. These two books have been on my TBR for the entire 2.5 years that I started becoming a reader, because the very first booktuber that I started watching, her name is Michaela, and this is like one of her god tier series. So it has been on my TBR for so long, and I am so happy that these books got picked up for Trad Publishing, and they have beautiful new covers that look like that when you put them together. I just love that. So very excited to have those. The last three books. We have The King's List by Jade Presley. This is the follow-up to the Never List that came out last year. Then I have Rights of the Starling by Devney Perry. Very excited to have this. Very excited to finally dive into the world of Shield of Sparrows. I knew that I should have read it last year and totally missed the train, and still have not read it this year. So hopefully once I get like my stride back in reading, this will hopefully be one of the first things that I pick up, because people are literally obsessing, dying over this series right now, and I have such FOMO. And the last book is Starside by Alex Astor. I am so excited to read this. I've heard literally nothing but amazing things about this book. I read my first Alex Astor book earlier this year, and it was actually her contemporary romance called Summer in the City. So I haven't read Lightlark or anything else by her at the moment, but I absolutely fell in love with her writing style and just her general aura, her personality. We love Alex in this household. So cannot wait to read this. And as a bonus item, while Mom and I were at Books A Million, I stumbled upon this magical item and could not say no. This is oh my gosh, what a glare. This is an Edward snow globe. Oh, you really can't see that. Okay. Well, it's got a little picture of Edward in there with a heart. It also comes with a Twilight bookmark, and it comes with some Twilight puffy stickers. I literally could not say no. I cannot wait to put this on my bookshelf. Alrighty guys, that is my 62 book haul. Post being on a book buying ban, post vacation. This is going to be added to my new bookshelves that I am hopefully getting in the next month. I cannot wait. Again, I quite literally have nowhere to put these books right now, so that's super fun. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for spending your time with me. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys. You are my favorite. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel, and let me know in the comments if you guys are also severely impulse buyers when it comes to books. If you own any of these books, are there books here that I should prioritize that you've read? Let me know everything down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.